Hello. So in this video, my friend is going to be doing a review and a reaction to the movie Seed of Chucky. Now, I didn't want to say this in the video beforehand, but he's in for quite the shock because, well, this is by fans considered to be the worst in the franchise. Like, people really hate this movie for some reason. Now, if you go back to my ranking video, I actually like this movie. There is a lot of jokes, and I do bring this up during the video. There's a lot of jokes I do like that do still stick with me after all this time. Is it one of my top favorites? No. But I do like it. And it does hold a place in the franchise for me that I really enjoy it. It has some really good moments, in my opinion. It has some really good jokes, in my opinion. And yeah, I like this one. Maybe I'm the weirdest Child's Play fan, the most diehard Child's Play fan, because I still like this movie. Even though it's not one of my top favorites, I enjoy it a lot. But most fans hate it. So, with that said, let's jump right in and get to his review and reaction. Alright, so we are back with the next review and reaction video. Before we get started, last time you watched the dark romantic comedy, Bride of Chucky. So, you've had a little time to think about that. You have any further thoughts on the previous movie?
Well, I was debating about how much I like that movie, and while I do like the movie, there's one thing that drags it down for me, and that's the ending. Even if the ending is justified or explained, I mean, ending it that way is just dumb. I don't care what they do in this next movie. There's just no excuse to end a movie like that. It's just no.
Well, like I said, I'll probably dive into more of the questions and stuff of things, how they were answered and whatnot, because it sort of is explained in this, but not exactly. But I am here with Anime Senpai.
Really.
And this week we are
my voice.
This week we are watching Seed of Chucky. So it's going to be very exciting, and we've gone a long way to get to this point. And this is probably going to be one of the most interesting videos. At least I hope.
I'm looking forward to the end, honestly.
Well, the strange thing is after this, honestly, I like the next two films way more. I mean, I don't want to spoil anything, so I won't say too much about this movie in particular, but we've kind of passed some of the best stuff, and we're still got a few good things left to get to. So, you just kind of got to trudge through Bride some. I mean, Bride's a good, comedy and a good way to, transition into comedy. But I feel like, well, with this movie, Don Mancini kind of just... You and we've talked about, like, how the fans hate whenever George Lucas was solely in charge of Star Wars. Like, with the prequels. They didn't like a lot of what he did. This is kind of like Don Mancini's prequels. Even though it's not a prequel. Don't get that. It's just, he's fully in charge at this point. He writes it, he directs it. This is his movie solely.
Oh boy.
So, yeah. That can give you a little bit of a glimpse of what you're in store for, but I guess the best way to get into it is just for you to watch it. So, any further comments before we get started?
Nope.
All right, so we will be back right after we're done watching it. All right, so you just finished Seed of Chucky for the first time. What'd you think?
It took a long time for it to get good. I didn't really like the beginning. The whole time I was seeing the beginning, I was thinking, what the hell? Honestly, it wasn't even until Chucky, honestly, the best part of this movie was whenever Chucky was involved. Nothing else was really good. Although, I will say, it was kind of interesting seeing Jennifer Tilly play two different roles in this movie. That was pretty good right there. But aside from that, I didn't really care much for it.
Was there any jokes or lines that really stood out that you think you're really going to remember from this movie?
I think there was something that Chucky said once, but not really, no. Nothing really comes to mind too much.
See, I am like one of those odd fans out because most fans of the franchise, they don't like this movie.
I can understand.
I am the one weird fan, I guess, because although it is pretty low on my, rankings and stuff, I enjoy every one of these movies. I can't say I hate any of them. Even this one, I love a lot of the comedy.
Well, there was a time where, like, for a lot of the movie, I did not really like Glenn or Glenda, whatever. But there was a couple times where I thought, but overall, aside from like there was one or two times I thought Glenn was okay, I just didn't really care.
Well, we'll get back into that in a minute. But what did you think of the overall comedy from everybody?
Honestly, the only thing I really thought that was actually funny was Chucky. He was the only one that I really enjoyed.
I do have to agree.
Which is kind of weird because I thought going into if you had asked me about it, like with the first Child's Play, if I would have cared much about Chucky, I would have probably said eh. But now I'm saying, yeah, Chucky was the best part of the movie.
I do have to agree that Chucky does probably get some of the best jokes, like the violins.
Oh yeah. I did like that part.
Where he finally accepts the fact he is a killer doll at the end. I love that little monologue he gives.
Yeah.
Basically a lot of Chucky's lines, in this are all funny. I like some of Tiffany's role too, There are some cringy moments where it's like, oh, can we just hurry up and get past this?
Mm-hmm.
Like the whole thing, with her wanting to be in recovery and that whole thing about Rome not being built in a day. It's just like, oh, come on already.
Well, that was true, but I mean, yeah.
As for Glenn and Glenda, first off, I don't know if you're aware of this, but Don Mancini is a gay man.
Oh, well.
And I think that was one of the earliest attempts of pushing, some identity politics into movies. But it's not like cramming it down your throat. It's just, it's a little touch on it, but they don't do too much on it. And I think it provides a lot of good comedy where, Chucky thinks Glenn's a boy and she thinks Glenda's a girl. Like when they're checking to see which parts he has.
Which is kind of weird because, his whole existence is an abomination, if you ask me. I mean, Chucky makes sense because Charles Lee Ray, he put his soul into a doll. And Tiffany kind of makes sense because Chucky put Tiffany's soul into a doll. But Glenn, that is an abomination.
Well, they're saying basically he was created from Tiffany and Chucky having sex at one time.
Yeah, I know, but Glenn is still a doll. That does not compute in my head.
Well, that's why he looks like a doll, because although he actually did look a little more human than Chucky or Tiffany, which is something but the good thing is, I can tell you this much, moving forward, don't worry. Yeah. He got worse treatment than Jar Jar Binks.
Dang.
Like, they never bring up, they maybe mention him one time. And then they never talk about it again.
Oh, jeez.
And it's just a little throwaway line, at the end of one of the movies. I won't say which one, but you'll find out.
Yeah, about the yawns, I don't thought it's going to be cut out. But sorry about that. I'm just in a yawning thing.
But here's one of my biggest things, and this is one of the main reasons you, of all people, I wanted to get your reaction to this movie above all the others in this franchise. I do want your reaction to the others, but being you are anime senpai and you watch and review anime, what did you think about the interjection of Japanese culture into this movie?
It was definitely interesting. It was kind of thrown out of nowhere. Glenn actually, just because he is made in Japan, he can speak Japanese.
Well, he probably studied.
Well, maybe, possibly, but it was kind of interesting. I've always would like to go visit Japan, and ideally I would like to visit Japan in the spring because that's where the sakura trees bloom. And if anyone did not know what those sakura trees are, they're cherry blossom trees.
What did you think of the end of the movie?
It was the ending this time was better than the last one, but I don't know. It was better than the last one. I will say that. I'm not sure what to think about the whole arm thing being in the box and all that stuff. I'm not sure what to make out of that. Obviously, I get the feeling Chucky sent his arm, which is weird.
Yeah, like I said, this one is kind of the black sheep of the series. It gets forgotten about. Most people don't even there's a YouTuber named Cody Leach. He hates this movie. He hates anytime he has to watch it for a review or something and rewatch it.
And like I said before, I can't understand why.
This is considered to be the worst of the worst for a reason. I like it, but I go into it knowing it's a comedy. Knowing that it's not meant to be serious. It kind of was plagiarizing Scream 3 with the whole making the movie about the movie they're currently in, kind of.
Oh, yeah, and there was that cameo from Britney Spears in
the
movie that was kind of interesting. This is kind of me mentioning about my past. I was a fan of Britney in my teenage years, and I did grow up in the 90s, and I was a fan of so many different things, and I questioned some of my tastes that I had. I still like some of the stuff, but not as much as I did before. I was a weird kid.
Yeah. But, I mean, this to me, it's good to get this one out of the way. Now, the next one actually took a long time, and the next one actually was straight to Netflix. Because the studios, I guess, didn't have enough confidence to put it in theaters. Although they really should have. Which I guess you'll find out next week, or next time why. But yeah, this is not one of my absolute favorites. Like I said, it's probably at the bottom of my list, but I don't hate any of these movies. I think, yeah, this one had some problems. Yeah, this one had some issues. But the one thing I think it did the best was the comedy. And it gave us some of the most iconic Chucky moments to date. Like Chucky realizing he's happy just being a killer. Which is something that does carry on beyond this movie. The sole purpose of trying to get into a human body is no longer Chucky's primary interest anymore. He's just happy being a killer doll. Sorry if that ruins any of the future movies, but...
Well, I mean, he did say that, who wants to be human anyways? You get sick and all that stuff, and those are pretty good points that Chucky makes.
Yeah. So, I'm guessing when it comes around to your ranking, this is probably going to be bottom of the list for you then?
It's looking that way, yeah. Because I did not like the beginning. I did not really... There was like so many times I was thinking, what the heck is going on? And it wasn't really until Chucky and Tiffany really started doing stuff that I really was on board with the movie. And that took... Well, that was 20 minutes into the movie, probably?
Something like that.
So
but I know as soon as they woke up, you were laughing your ass off.
Yeah, I think up until that, I was just rolling my eyes and just thinking, what the heck?
Kid hit every ugly branch on the way down. Wonder what his parents look like. That's why I said, it's got a lot of good jokes. I mean, you just got to go into it knowing this is not going to be a serious movie. This is not going to be horror at all. This is a straight up, full out comedy.
I mean,
if you go into that with that mindset, it's so much funnier.
I went into this movie thinking it would be a comedy and all that stuff, but god dang, I just can't get after the beginning, once we got Chucky on board, and so then I started enjoying the movie a lot more.
Yeah. Now, here's another question. Do you realize that this was the 5th movie in the franchise, and Brad Dourif is still Chucky?
Yeah, that's kind of surprising. I mean, I'm sure by this point it's been well over 10 years since the first one.
Oh yeah, I think this one was. I think Bride of Chucky actually came out in 97, 98, somewhere around there. And this one I think was 2002 or 4 or something like that.
So okay, wow.
So it's actually been more time. So yeah, I mean, and the newer ones, the newest ones, Curse and Cult. Well, those came out a year apart, but those only came out in 2016 or 17.
Yeah, I do remember there was I think I do remember something about there being a Chucky movie that came out recently, and at the time I was just thinking, oh geez, more? When's it gonna end?
It's never going to end. It better never end. Well, okay, I want it to end, but I've always had this theory, and I guess now that you're this far into it, I can go ahead and really dive in and you'll understand. But I've always had this theory that it needs to come to an end. there needs to be a conclusive movie that ends the franchise where you get all the people involved that are still alive from previous movies, and like, you know, Andy, Kyle, Tyler, they're chasing Chucky and Tiffany, who are going on a countrywide killing spree and leaving a trail of bodies behind. They actually already have Glenda with them. They meet up with Glenda, who at this point in the timeline would be probably like a teenager. And Andy's group are chasing after them, trying to catch up to them. And they're being shadowed by this mysterious person. And when the entire group finally catches up to Chucky, they're too late. Chucky has made it to a warehouse. And that warehouse, I'll dive more into that point in the plot. And I'll finish this whole theory of what I'd really like to see for a finale when we get to the end of Curse of Chucky. So anybody watching, if you want to hear the end of this theory that I would love to see, or the end of this pitch, definitely come back and check when we get to Curse of Chucky. Or no, not Curse, sorry, Cult of Chucky. The end of Cult. And then, yeah. I was thinking that the mysterious stranger, though, following Andy's group, could be actually a teenage version of Glenn. I would love to see them bring Glenn and Glenda back, and I would love to see it where Glenda is completely on board with her mom and dad, helping them out, and Glenn has run away and joined up with Andy's crew. I think he would do everything in his power to now stop his parents being the good child. And since you've just seen this movie, you can understand why I say that.
Yeah.
But that has been the reaction and review of Seed of Chucky. You didn't like it. You thought it was funny. You probably won't ever want to watch it again.
No, this is... I do not see myself sitting down watching this movie ever again. I really don't.
So, let me ask you this. If you got the entire franchise in a collection, and you sat down to watch the whole collection, you would skip this? Or would you watch it just because it's part of the series?
It would depend on my mood. I might watch it just because it's part of the series, or I might just throw it on and I'll have it as background noise, like when I'm playing my game that I always play or something. I'll probably just have it as background noise.
And what game do you play?
Final Fantasy 14, which I did a video about Blizzard recently, so.
Alright. And so do you want to do a shout out about your main channel? So we can wrap up?
Well, I'm trying to work on my Krista channel. That's my name on Final Fantasy 14. But on, of course, Anime Senpai, I do talk about like anime and manga. I just finished recording a couple videos. I have to upload them. At this point, I'm not exactly sure when I'll have them uploaded, but I'm going to try to get them done as soon as possible. Other than that, I am trying to think of like what I have going on in the future. I don't have any set plans. I'm trying to get my whole thing about art discussions. I want to get that going first. And then I would like to talk about characters and stuff. And I have a lot in mind.
But a link to his channels will be in the description below. And now let's go to my closeout. Alright. And that was our review and reactions to Seed of Chucky. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Doing this with my friend has been a real honor. I have really had a lot of fun doing this. And he seems to be enjoying himself too. He's really starting to like Chucky, it seems. But we'll wait and see what his reactions and thoughts are as we get ready to close out this series. With not many videos left in this little series, we only have Curse of Chucky, Cult of Chucky, his ranking, and a review and reaction to the remake. So, horror fans, that if you are interested in seeing what, someone new to horror thinks of these are the videos. Please check out all the previous videos if you haven't already. My friend, he, as I've said many times in the videos, he is not a horror fan at all. Like, he doesn't like horror, and it was kind of a twisting his arm to get him to do this, but he's actually seeming to enjoy himself. So I'm really thankful, because I told him, I said, hey, if you actually give horror a chance and look at it in this certain way, you're gonna like it. I mean, honestly, there's not a lot of difference between horror movies and action movies other than how the movies are kind of filmed. Because one of the biggest things he didn't like about horror movies was people dying. And I'm like, yeah, but you watch this action series and a lot of people die in that. And he's like, well, yeah, that's true. And I'm like, so it's the same thing with horror. It's just, it's set up in a way that's meant to scare you. Whereas in an action movie, it's meant to entertain you. So, this has been a lot of fun. I'm enjoying myself. It seems like he's enjoying himself. Like I said, we don't have many left. I think we'll be done with this entire thing by the end of October. I'm hoping that we can get the ranking of Child's Play done before Halloween, and I'll probably put that out as a special Halloween episode. Coming next month, I am doing a live stream for my birthday. I would love to hear from you guys. I would love to have a bunch of people tune in. I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know what I'm going to say or talk about. I'm going to be live streaming, though. Even if I'm just sitting there doing nothing or playing Magic the Gathering while I wait for someone to jump on and talk, I'll be live streaming. I'll be there with my daughter, maybe some others. I don't know what yet, but it will be on September 23rd, probably sometime in the afternoon. I'm thinking around 4 o'clock. I might do some live streams on my other channels, because I have a Twitch channel. I have another YouTube personal channel where I do live streams of video games. So I might pick a game and just live stream that earlier in the day on those two channels. I don't know. But I'm going to try to make this birthday special and memorable. So if you have the time, please come back, chat with me. And especially if you have read any of my books. I would love to hear your thoughts on my books. Negative, positive, I don't care. Let's just talk about it. I have a lot of Easter eggs littered throughout my book series that I'm be surprised if nobody ever caught them. There's some really good Easter eggs for you to find. And yeah, so if you have not yet and you are enjoying these videos, please subscribe to this channel. I hear a lot of YouTubers saying that YouTube is unsubscribing people without their permission. So make sure if you are a subscriber, that you're still subscribed, because every time I hit a new set of 10 subscribers, I give away free digital codes, and I might be giving away free digital codes on September 23rd. So one more time, please subscribe to this channel. Make sure to click the notification bell, and I will see you guys in the next video.